All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. We really appreciate you. We value all you do for the citizens of Davie County, and we thank you for the support that you give all of us and our great staff. We will now call on Deacon Jason Imes from Mount Zion Community Church to lead us in the invocation.
First, let me say good afternoon and thank you for this opportunity. As a lifelong Davie County born and raised, I do consider this an honor. Let us bow our heads. Father God, before we ask you for anything, we just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for another day. Thank you for life, health, and strength. And Father God, we ask you to watch over this meeting. Father, give us understanding. Father God, give us the ability to agree and disagree with peace and love. Father God, we just want to thank you right now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Amen. And to lead us in the pledge tonight will be Mr. Randy Johnson, who grew up in Maryland, Wisconsin, and of course he is a Green Bay Packer fan. He enlisted into the U.S. Army in 1975 and spent 14 years as an enlisted, reaching the rank of E7 Sergeant First Class. During that time, he was assigned to the 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment in Nuremberg, Germany. This set the tone for him to make a career in the Army. His mentor while he was enlisted was Sergeant First Class Montgomery, who took Mr. Johnson under his wing and taught him leadership and to ensure his soldiers were taken care of. Quote, "If you take care of them, they'll take care of you." End quote. The last 6 years, he was a Chief Warrant Officer too. He was an armored vehicle mechanic and technician. He spent 11 years in Germany and the other 9 years on different posts across the United States. After retirement from the U.S. Army, he went to work for Ashley Furniture for 28 years. The last 22 years, he was a desktop support manager. Ashley Furniture brought him to Davie County in November of 2013. In 2016, he met his wife, Dana Kinney, who was a teacher in the Davie County school system for 20 years. Mr. Johnson retired from Ashley Furniture in 2022. Thank you for your service and thank you for being here.
I just want to say thank you for honoring veterans every month and having them be up here in front of you. It's an honor to be here. If everybody will stand. Raise the flag, put your hand over your heart, and repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Like I said, thank you for honoring veterans every month and having somebody up here to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
We appreciate you.
Nope. Thank you.
Ethics and conflict disclosure. Mr. Vogler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160A-86 and Davie County Board of Commissioners Code of Ethics adopted in December 2019, I'd ask each of you before you adopt the agenda if there's any actual, potential, or perceived conflicts of interest on the agenda, on any proposed matter on the agenda, which would come before the board tonight for a meeting, for a vote this evening. If so, please speak up and let the board know before the agenda is adopted. Seeing and hear no one speak up, I would assume there's no actual, potential, or perceived conflicts of interest by any board member.
Thank you, Mr. Vogler. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I make a motion to adopt.
Ms. Finney, do we have a second? Second. Mr. Reniger, all in favor? All right, that's unanimous. Item 6, presentations. Mr. Barnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight we have several presentations. The very first one, I'm going to turn it over to our folks at Cooperative Extension for Ms. Leah Frick.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Leah Frick. I'm 15, and I'm the Youth Voice Representative for Davie County. I'm currently our county's president and unofficial reporter. The 4-H this year for me has been extremely busy, with more upcoming than I've already done. In January, I participated in our district's Winterfest, where I announced I was running for a district officer. I ran a section about poultry for Davie and Yadkin County's Farm Animal Day, teaching roughly around 1,200 children. I think my rooster deserved a trophy more than I did. A few days later, I campaigned at the North Central District Teen Retreat and was voted in as Secretary-Treasurer for our district. My slogan, given my reputation for being the chicken guru in our county, was "That Chick Frick." I shot rubber chickens at my fellow 4-H'ers all night, so I'm pretty sure they all know my name now. I'll be sworn in as Secretary-Treasurer at Congress, a week-long retreat in Raleigh, and I get the privilege of joining a statewide committee to help plan events throughout my term. I've won gold for county and district presentations talking about women's representation in baseball, and I'll be going to state finals in Congress. At district, I had the surprise of being selected as a recipient for a scholarship helping pay for my Congress fee. So as you can see or hear, I constantly do everything in my power to propel myself and my voice in our county and district forward. I'm beyond honored to be speaking today. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And do you mind if I get a picture with you guys?
Do not.
Thank you. Sorry.
Next on our list tonight, we made a transition within our emergency services, and I'm going to turn it over to our EMS director, Joseph Adjourn, to welcome our new medical director over emergency services.
Lord, it's my privilege to stand before you today and introduce you to Dr. Cameron Weekly. We had Dr. Nelson for 12 years as our medical director, and we've done a lot in those 12 years that he was here. Whenever he made the announcement that he was going to go through and step down from us, we put together a panel of individuals to go through and look. Mr. Barnett was on that panel, Rodney Pierce was on the panel, Cameron Webb was on the panel, myself, and Brent Krotz. Everyone that the medical director would actually be going through and dealing with on a daily basis. Out of the ones that came through, Dr. Weekly was really high on the list and everything, and we felt that he would be the best fit for our county. And speaking with him, we've got a lot of things that we're going to go through and work on and ideas for the future and all. He's coming from us from Cincinnati, Ohio. He done and finished up his fellowship there, so he has moved back to Winston area, so he's going to be able to be with us, and he's going to also be the assistant medical director for Air Care. So with that being said, I'm going to let Dr. Weekly introduce himself and tell you a little bit more.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Pleasure to meet you all of you guys in the room. As he said, my name is Dr. Cameron Weekly. I'm a board-certified emergency physician, and I am the honor and privilege of being Davie County Medical Director, your guys' new medical director. I did my medical school down in Medical University of South Carolina, graduated in the fantastic year of 2020. Where I started emergency medicine residency. I graduated from Wake Forest, and then I did a pre-hospital and EMS fellowship up at the University of Cincinnati. Had specialty training as a flight physician up there, mass casualty events, as well as a physician embedded with a SWAT team there as well. So I have a variety of experiences in the pre-hospital setting. As Mr. Ashburn has just said, I am an emergency physician with Wake Forest, and I am also the assistant medical director of Air Care. Okay. I'm very excited to be joining EMS here at Davie County. They're an exceptional group of EMTs and paramedics. We have a lot of exciting things that we want to bring to Davie County, pre-hospital blood, expanding our community paramedicine program, and just improving the amount of quality care that we can provide to the county as well as its citizens. Okay, so it's a pleasure to have you guys here, or it's a pleasure for me to be here with you guys, and I look forward to working with you all in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda tonight, a man who doesn't need any introduction, Mr. Jackie Copeland with Partners. Jackie comes twice a year to give us an update on the progress that we're making. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Copeland.
Thank you, Mr. Barnett. Thank you, Commissioners. Glad to be with you. Karen, okay. Karen's got me taken care of here. Again, hope everyone is having a great July 1st. Today's a busy day for us. I won't jump ahead of myself, but it's a big day for Partners and for Davie County, so I'll get to it and kind of talk more about it. Some of the ways, I want to start off by talking about how we're serving members at Partners, looking at a snapshot of last year from October 1st to December 31st of 2023. And we served over 1,000 of your Medicaid members, about 247 folks who receive state services. Again, those are folks who are uninsured but will qualify or eligible for one of the state's funding sources to cover their behavioral health care. As you see, the penetration rate for that time period, about 21.9%. What we looking at national models, they recommend Medicaid plans to be serving at least 1 out of 4 of the people that's in your Medicaid plan you manage. So we're staying right in that ballpark here. We typically range from 21 to 23% of penetration rate. Again, those are the folks who want behavioral health services that we're reaching out to them and engaging them. Next, something new I want to share with you is just a little information on the number of persons served. And I'm not fond of the term disability, but that's what the state calls it, folks who are either receiving mental health, substance use, or intellectual development disabilities. Again, I'm not very fond of that, but a little breakdown how that looks for members served during that same time period, how many members were served. You'll see mental health, adult and child, the highest numbers served as individuals. Next becomes intellectual development disabilities, and then substance use. If you look at far as who draws the cost more, most of the funds, Medicaid dollars, go towards services for folks with intellectual development disabilities. Just you can imagine they have some needs that require some round the clock care and some other things that go beyond sometimes what mental health or substance use would. So that kind of explains that difference. Next, talking about intellectual development disability members, looking at innovations. Again, innovations members are those members who have an innovation waiver slot. They went through a very lengthy process with not only us but the state of North Carolina, and they qualify for the federal government's innovation waiver slot. In Davie County, we have about 48 members, not about 48 members that are on the innovations waiver. We're in the process. Davie County receives 3 additional slots, so we've filled those 2 and working with the last member or who's next on the registry of unmet needs to fill that slot. Mentioning the registry of unmet needs, again, those are the individuals who've submitted the various paperwork required and been approved for innovation slot when one comes available from the state or in rotation. We've got 103 individuals waiting. We don't like that number, but it's all determined about when funding. We get a slot when it's funded, and again, 3 more were added. So hopefully it'll be 104 very soon once the next family who's been on the slot says yes, they won't accept that waiver slot. What we're trying to do also, we made a real focused effort this year to really say, if a folks on the registry of unmet needs, let's offer them other services if they have Medicaid or state funds to can pay for those services. So we have 33 families that are taking advantage of that. This is hopefully going to expand because we found out the state the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services has expanded or accepted our state's 1915 I waiver, which means that some of the services that innovations members get, now folks who are on that registry of unmet needs waiting for innovation slot, they can receive some of those services. So hopefully more families will take advantage of that, especially those who are Medicaid recipients, and if the state funds will take care of that piece. The big difference, you may ask, well, what's the big difference, Jackie? The Innovations Waiver Slide, again, they get a significant amount of annual dollars to take care of their care because some of these folks need around-the-clock care, and it goes beyond what one of our providers can do. So right now, that's been increased to up to $158,000 a year if the person demonstrates medical necessity for that. Some of these folks, again, require a lot of different equipment and what have you. This is another way to kind of help the families in those cases. So we're hoping that the General Assembly will see fit to expand again the number of innovation slots out there. I know there's a lot of folks advocating for that. So once we get more, we'll reach out to families and get them off their registered unmet needs list. Next, I want to hit on just some of the community spotlights for you, some of the key things. This is not all of them, but some things I thought would be interest to the commissioners. First, back on May 7th, we had our first community conversation about suicide in Davie County. We thank you, Commissioner Finney. She was able to join us. She had a busy day, but she popped in. One of the things that this is a way to really look at how we can offer a couple of things to the community. One is how we can address stigma. We know the numbers. This is not just Davie or North Carolina, but it's a national trend. We're seeing suicide numbers go up. So one of the things is to address stigma. And so one of the things we talk about is just trying to address stigma in a very non-confrontational, very comfortable way to really talk through it. We also share information, resources to families about what are some treatment providers that are available to them, other resources. One thing we've added, this is a statewide initiative, so partners can't really claim fame to this, but with the increase in the number of deaths due to firearms, one thing that there are several state campaigns that we participate in is we also have in that little bag, we give them a bag of various resources, is a gun lock. Just so they'll have, if they do a firearm in the house, that we have a gun lock if they don't have one, just as one more way to deter or slow down someone who may make a rash decision and end up hurting themselves. But along with that, at the end of that meeting, we also offer something that people can take with them, and that's training, question, persuade, and refer. It's a suicide prevention training, a national model. Takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to go through it. Anyone can go through it. It's one of those trainings that's really helpful if you have a neighbor, family member, co-worker, church member who you say, they have some troubles right now. Let me just ask a few questions, and if they do need help, let me help be a gatekeeper to get them to a mental health professional. So that's one of the trainings we're going to offer. You see this month on the 23rd, and also we have one scheduled for September 26th at the library. So again, one of the great things about these conversations, we started this in our other counties almost a year and a half ago when we have a group working here in Davie County. I don't see any of the folks who work with. Maybe there she is. This is Julie. Her and a couple of people in the county, several people in the county, kind of led this initiative. Because the key to this is we partner with various community stakeholders to make this happen. Because we all know this is not just one person's challenge. It's something we need for all Davie County citizens. So that was excited to pull that one off. And I know there are others scheduled for later on in the year. It won't be a one-time event. And then I won't take your time about the third one. I'm going to jump to the fourth bullet there. Today, as I mentioned earlier, is a big day for our community. Partners today began implementing a tailored plan for Medicaid members, meaning that along with the behavioral health needs that we'll help through our provider network to address, we'll also address their physical health. This is something you all have probably heard. We've been working for about 4 years to do this as a state, had some stops, some sputters, some hold off, but now the day is the day. So we're excited to start off the fiscal year with operating a tailored plan, and so far it's going in a very good way starting off. It's really a great challenge for us because we now can begin to serve the whole person. The whole person. We have dabbled in the past because just our members have various physical health needs, but now we can manage that care. And the thing that is exciting is we now can get into prevention. What are some ways we can do to help people who have hypertension and increased diabetes or potential for prediabetes, how can we engage them sooner so they won't develop a illness on long term? So we're excited about that. And I'll touch, that's why the third bullet here, we're also going to work with our members, our pregnant women who are involved, to try to refer them to the health department's case management for high-risk pregnancy program. Just a way to, these ladies may need some care, and of course their babies would too, do some of the prenatal care and other things that are offered. It's a great resource. We're going to partner and try to send some of our ladies there so that they can begin those services too. So just a couple of things where we're making that shift and looking at the whole person, and that's one of the many things we're looking at so far this year. The link there, I won't click to it, but it has a link to our tailored plan, kind of give you soup to nuts of everything that is going on, variety of services we have, the new opportunities we have to serve people in new different ways, and resources open for the entire community who are Medicaid members enrolled in a tailored plan. That concludes my report, but I'm glad to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. We appreciate all you do and your staff does. Any questions?
Just to comment, the Taylor plan has been a long time coming.
Yes, sir.
Any false starts, so that will be good for the people, the element that is very underserved, so that's good. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then our final presentation tonight is our Assistant County Manager, Finance Director Robin West, doing our financial report for May 2024. As she walks up here, I'll just go ahead and tell you guys that we will not have a report in August because that is typically for June, which we reserve for when we do our annual audit report in the fall.
Good evening. This is a summary comparing May year to date. So we're 11 months into this fiscal year versus May where we were last year at this time. We're over $2.6 million better than we were at this point last year, which is really good news. As you can see, we've collected about $2.4 million more in revenues, mostly due to property taxes. There's more in sales taxes, but we also have about $2.5 million. Can you go down a little? In expenditures as well. So just as a frame of reference, our year-to-date May revenues are about 89% of estimates, and our expenditures are 81% of the budget. Just to let you know, 11 months worth is about 92%. So let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions? All right. Thank you, Ms. Robin. All right. Public comment, Mr. Vogler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Go over some of the rules, public comment rules that were up on the podium when individuals signed up. Each person desiring to speak during a public comment section shall sign up on the sign-up sheet, state your full name, topic which you desire to speak on. Each speaker is allowed a total of 3 minutes to speak, shall immediately stop when his or her 3 minutes is up. The board has designated Karen Logan as the timekeeper. She will begin timing the speaker when the speaker states his or her name. There is a clock on the podium on the screen that will tell you how much time you have remaining. When the clock indicates that you're to stop, you need to go ahead and stop at that point in time. You're to address the board as a whole. I shall not ask for any verbal exchanges back and forth between the board. It's not the intent of public comments to require the board to answer any impromptu questions. Instead, there's no discussion between the board and the speaker. The speaker is there to make a public comment. Speaker must make all presentations from the podium, provided shall not be allowed to physically approach the board or a staff member without the express invitation by the chair or other designated persons. Any applause should be held until the end of the public comment period. A total of 30 minutes is allocated by the board for public comments at each regular monthly meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. If the time period runs out before all persons who have signed up to speak have had an opportunity to do so, then the names of those persons who did not have an opportunity to speak are carried over to the next public comment period at the next commissioners meeting. Mr. Chair, we have 9 individuals who have signed up. I will call your name. As your name is called, If you would please come to the podium, state your name into the mic so that Karen has a record of that, and then Karen will start the clock timer. First, we have Wendy Vernon. Her topic of concern is the library.
Good evening. Hi, Karen. My name is Wendy Vernon. I'm going to read my thing here. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, not only as a 30-year resident of Davie County, but also as a member of PFLAG, which is the national organization for the LGBTQ+ community and their families. I would like to address the assault on the library director on June 6 and ask for the support of the commissioners in condemning the actions by the individual that committed the assault, and then, according to the newspaper article, tried to cover up his crime by switching out license plates and covering his vehicle. To me, this is solid evidence that the library needs all community leaders to speak up and show transparent and bold support for our library and its staff. Our county needs to see this support in a huge way, and I respectfully challenge our leaders to be the champions that our community needs. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, next we have Julie Wood. Ms. Wood, come on up. Again, comment of concern is the library.
Hi, I'm Julie Wood. I'm the Executive Director at Impact of the Piedmont. We serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and we're one that started Tailored Plan today. We offer 24-hour support, saying we work with people, whatever they need. It may be their own home or our apartments, but we love being a part of Davie County. 40 years ago, citizens in Davie County took out personal loans and second mortgaged their homes to make sure that all the citizens had a place to live and be a part of the community, which is a beautiful thing. I get to stand on their shoulders. So we get to serve folks who benefit so much from the library. Folks, we have some of the people we serve are there every day. We have some who they may go look up recipes so they can learn how to cook and go home and make that meal. So hopefully soon it'll be a springboard to go to an apartment. There are so many skills learned there. And what I found is the people at the library are resourceful and kind. They make sure no one feels excluded. Everyone is honored. Now, I work with a population that has a history of being oppressed. Well, there's people being oppressed now, too. I don't think this county wants to do that. And I need to know that my folks are safe. We come there every day. I have small groups. We have individuals that come to be accepted. We have people that play games, who learn scholastics. But a big thing is I want to say thank you to the library staff. They are so good. We have our staff meetings there, so I appreciate it. And I appreciate every one of them who takes the time to really care and show acceptance. And I know y'all feel the same way, but please make sure we have a safe, positive place to come. Thank you.
Next individual who signed up is Julie Whitaker, again on the library.
Good evening, I'm Julie Whitaker, and I'm here about the Library Board of Trustees. Regarding the public library, there are two major issues I'm here to address: the ongoing threats on library materials and staff members, and the appointment of members to the Library Board of Trustees. A recent incident at the library with a patron who had engaged in restricted behavior to deny access to library materials to others, and the director, who had asked to speak with this person, is a concerning development in a multi-year assault on certain library materials and staff members. I expected the county administration and commissioners to issue statements in support of the library staff and policies regarding shared materials, intellectual freedom, and personal safety. But no statement demonstrates a lack of respect for the library staff and their personal safety and the rights and safety of our citizens. At this meeting, you are scheduled to appoint 2 new members to the Library Board of Trustees. Advisory trustees work with the library administration on planning and policy formulation for the library and advocate for the library to the public. An advisory board is defined as a body providing missing insights and skill sets for you as members of the Board of Commissioners. Trustees of any department are in the best position to assess board candidates that are best suited to fulfill the role stated above. The Board of Trustees does not need administrative, moral, or political monitors. It needs people who understand or are willing to learn and uphold the mission and values of public libraries, which are charged with serving all members of the public, regardless of their personal circumstances, beliefs, morals, or values. I urge you to appoint from the nominees of the current Board of Trustees. They have offered you highly qualified candidates who have been involved at the library, understand library policies, the tenets of academic and intellectual freedom, and are respectful of our diverse society with differing needs, eclectic beliefs, morals, and values. Our public library provides excellent services, resources, and programs to our community. Commissioners should recognize and support such a valuable community asset. And finally, I would like to thank Kristen Mears for her outstanding advocacy and service to the library over the last, officially 6 years, but she raised her children in that library when I was the youth services librarian. There's never been a better parent. There's never been a better advocate for children, for library materials for children, for programming for children. She's been absolutely wonderful, and I thank her.
Mr. Chair, the next we have is Alice Brown. Her concern is the library.
My name is Alice Brown, and I want to thank you for this opportunity. I don't take it lightly. Each time I stand up here, I do so with much appreciation for your willingness to serve in your positions and to carry out your duties and fulfill all the magnitude, task, and decision-making that you do. I want to use myself as an example of a library trustee. Going on 20 years ago, I felt honored to have been nominated and appointed as a trustee. It was a privilege to serve with two extraordinary directors, Ruth Hoyle and Jane McAllister, and with a dedicated, congenial, nonpartisan board. I recall an incident when a grandmother checked out a book to share with her preschool grandson and returned asking for it to be removed from the shelf. I read the book. I read the American Library Association manual with its mission, policies, guidelines, etc. After reading the proposition that for the public interest, the library is to make available material with a diversity of views and expressions, then I stated my opinion. And what followed? The book should have been left on the shelf, and it was. But there the grandmother sat. One, a child of God, being judgmental of me, another child of God, only because we disagreed and had a different group of view of what a children's book. We interpreted it differently. My standing firm was like the Dutch boy that stuck his finger in the dike when the tide began to rise to a dangerous level. Today is like the flood has come, with a movement to ban books for various reasons. Some time ago, Mr. Reniger read a well-crafted resolution which was adopted by the commissioners. In it, not only gun rights, but all constitutional rights were affirmed by the commissioners. When I asked Siri if the right to read is a constitutional right, absolutely popped up. So to continue to today, currently, we are assigned to serve for the public interest, and we have another extraordinary library director, Derek Ward, and in place, and I'm praying that he has a congenial, nonpartisan board as we work, and that they will work within the library guidelines. If the appointees are not willing to do so, then we, the people, have the right to either speak up.
Mr. Chair, next we got Belinda Brewer. Her concern is the library.
Belinda or Melinda?
Belinda.
Belinda with a B, Ed?
B with,
Yes, Belinda.
Belinda with a B. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all. I'm sorry. Computers, don't you love them? Started the state physical year. You know where I come from. It would be me. Okay. I was gonna say I could read. Yeah, we'll just Just let me know when you're ready. Okay. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am not on the Board of Trustees at the library. I am not. I do not go to the library. I do, however, carry a Kindle with me everywhere I go. And I keep checkouts from the digital library from Davie County all the time. I've got 5 on there right now. Just a bit of history. I am a lifelong member of Davie County. I wasn't born here. I was born in Forsyth, but I've been here 45 of my 50 years. Since the day I could read, my mother had me in the library. She'd allow me to check out 5 books a week. That's all she would allow me to check out. And she never gave me, I was always allowed to read what I wanted to. At 10 years old, if I wanted to read a book about the Holocaust, I could. I think I grew up to be a very well-rounded individual and understand that we are not all alike. So my question is, and as a citizen who does use a digital library, I have some real issues. So what were the qualifications of the 2 that were chosen from the county commissioners over who was provided, over the 3 names that were provided from the Board of Trustees? Do they have library cards? Do they have a favorite author? Do they have a favorite book? I mean, those would be questions as a patron of a library I'd want to know, because we have librarians that are supposed to fill. They are trained and educated to fill our libraries based off of their patrons. I am their patron. I do not want to be forced not to be able to read something that I want to read because the library has taken it out. I want you to be open and honest with the community and the county and the Board of Trustees. And what is the end game? Is the end game to start challenging books? Is the end game to start removing books? Is the end game starting to say to the librarians, we cannot put these books in our libraries? That's not fair to me. I'm a 50-year-old adult, and I should be able to read what I want to read. It's just that simple. And just keep in mind, never in the history of this world has the people challenging or removing books been on the right side of history. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, next we have Maria Phillips.
Hello, I'm Marcia Phillips, gentleman, gentlelady. I'm an employee of Wake Forest University Library. I write history books, local history books, but in the interest of full disclosure, it's my first time to address you. I am a staff member at Davie County Library. I don't perceive that as a conflict of interest, but if you do, I'll leave now. Is that a conflict of interest?
No, you have the right to speak.
Pardon?
You have the right to speak.
Okay, good. Several things I'm bringing to you tonight. First of all, I am also concerned about the safety at the library. I am the only employee who works in the history room, so I'm the only one ever working in there, and I'm also the only employee staff that has windows on the parking lot. And I have my blinds wide open now and watch a lot and look out the window because I feel also the weight of responsibility for my fellow staff members. I am delighted to have had the privilege for going on 5 years now to work in the history room and manage these great resources and help researchers, as I was an hour and a half ago when I ended my work duty today. But I want to address to you tonight some concerns to ask you to revisit the process of choosing Board of Trustee members, particularly with the replacement of Kristen Mears, who I have interacted with both on a casual level, but also have observed her engaged in the library with patrons, showing up volunteering with activities, and I'm not sure why someone with that caliber would be replaced. I think she's a voice we need more rather than less of on the board as a mother of children who are using the library. I was elected as a board trustee for a library in Washtenaw County, Michigan, where Ann Arbor is, in 2004, by tens of thousands of people I did not know, but who felt like a mother with children at home was a voice that was needed on the board. And I believe she's needed. I'm concerned, I do not know the gentleman who is due to replace her, so this is not a personal thing, although I'm pretty sure he's probably not a mother. So I just want to ask you to reconsider and not make this an arbitrary decision, but make this a decision working closely with the library director and the current board to get the best members possible. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, next we have Nathan Linville.
My name is Nathan Linville, and I'm 20 years old and a current student at NC State University. You may see that I'm wearing a bracelet that has coordinates on it, and it's coordinates of Davie County. My mom gave it to me when I moved into NC State, so I would not forget where I'm from. Home is Davie County for me. I grew up in Davie County Public Library when Miss Julie was the youth coordinator, and it was so much fun. But let's be honest, I'm not one to beat around the bush, so we're not going to. We all know why we're here. Books will be removed if we allow people who are not, let's say, necessarily supposed to be on this board. One member does not have a public library card. And books that have people that look like me or in heteronormative relationships will not be removed. We've already talked about suicide tonight and the rates increasing. LGBTQ kids are at most risk for these deaths. It's unfair for these kids not to see themselves in the books that they read. And I don't know if I'm delivering news to y'all, but reading gay books does not turn you gay. And I know how it is to grow up gay in Davie County. As a gay student at Davie County High School, some days it was rough, some days it was easy. But it's something I have to carry with me, and it's not a choice. And I deserve to see myself in the books that I read, if I so choose to. 97% of books that have been challenged in Florida have been challenged by 2 people. This is not a normal thing to do. It is not something that history has ever looked back on in good light. I ask you today to vote no on the appointments and then approve 2 of the people that the public library has put forward. It is the right thing to do. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, next we have Hazel Marion, again on the library.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Hazel Marion, and I am a lifelong resident of Davie County. I now attend college at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. Before attending Vanderbilt, I graduated from the School of Science and Math in Durham, North Carolina. During the summers, I work at the Davie YMCA as a lifeguard. While I am now not living in Davie County full-time, I will always call it my home. When I returned home from college this summer, I was discouraged to learn about the recent dangerous incidents at the Davie County Public Library. Tonight, I would like to speak about what the library meant to me as a child and why I would like it to stay a welcoming and safe place for everyone in the county. The Davie County Public Library had an incredible impact on my life as a youth. Before I could read, my parents would check out books to read to me and take me to Friday morning story time, led by Miss Julie. In elementary and middle school, I would go to the library almost every week to check out a new book because I loved to read so much. In middle and high school, I spent several summers volunteering with the Youth Services Summer Reading Program to give back to this establishment that I have gained so much from. To hear that there have been attempts to censor books at the library deeply saddens me. One of the reasons that I have been offered opportunities such as acceptances to the School of Science and Math and Vanderbilt University has been the education I have received through reading books at the library. Through books, I have learned about cultures other than my own and ideologies that I had not previously been exposed to. Without learning about these things through books at the library, I would not have the respect that I do for people who are different than me, and I would not be receptive and open-minded to new ideologies. I would like to emphasize how important it is for the youth of our county to have the opportunity to read books about cultures and ideologies they have not been exposed to in order to grow into educated and productive members of our diverse society. I would also like to add that as a member of the LGBTQ community, the library has always made me feel safe and welcomed, and I have been able to read books that represent me, and I have been able to find a safe place. I have recently learned that at least one book has been permanently removed from the library against the will of the Library Board of Trustees. I have also learned that the Board of Commissioners has been appointing applicants to the Library Board of Trustees who are not recommended by the Library Board. I cannot understand why the Board of Commissioners would turn aside fantastic applicants who are lifelong supporters to the library in favor of applicants who are not associated with the library and may not have its best interest at heart. I would like to end by expressing my will that the library remain a safe place for all children and adults in Davie County. Books should not be removed solely because they contain content that a few individuals support. In regards to censorship, it is only the right of a person wishing to read a book to make the decision about whether that book is appropriate for them or not. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Chair, next we have Kevin Marion, again on the library.
Thank you all for this opportunity. I appreciate it. My name is Kevin Marion. I've lived here in Davie County since I was 6. I visited the library regularly throughout my childhood. I continued to be involved with the library when my children were born. My wife Susan and I took them to activities and events on a regular basis, year after year, throughout their growing up, and we continue to do so, as I have 2 that are still in middle school. I have to say something about Miss Julie Whitaker. She was fantastic. All of my kids grew up with her there, and all the things that she said were amazing, and she should be highly respected and listened to. All 4 of our children, like my daughter Hazel said, have volunteered multiple summers at the library to help give back to what the library has given to them. I strongly support Kristen Mears to continue her duties on the Library Board of Trustees. I also strongly support the 2 individuals that the Library Board of Trustees has recommended to fill the other vacant spot. The Library Board is a group of people who are specifically appointed to support the library staff and to advise the director. They are the most qualified group to make these recommendations to fill the empty seats. I would like to hear, whether it be on this platform or outside these walls, why you all have felt it was necessary to recommend 2 additional individuals without consulting the Library Board of Trustees. It seems the regular course of action would be to appoint 2 of the 3 people recommended by the Library Board. It seems just very simple that that's what should be done. They know best. Third, while I understand that some measures have been taken to improve security at the library, which I do appreciate, those actions were noble and necessary, and I'm glad that they were taken. I don't believe there's been a public condemnation from your board of the unlawful actions of certain individuals, including the assault on the director. However, there was support from the commissioners to actively have a book removed from the shelves without going through the proper procedures stated in the Library Board of Trustees bylaws, and I don't understand why that happened. I urge that you do all you can to publicly show support for the Davie County Public Library and its director and staff so that our library continues to be the vibrant, welcoming place it has been and should continue being for everyone in our community. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, that's all that's signed up tonight.
Thank you. Thank you all for your comments. Mr. Wohl, would you come forward, please? Thanks, Derek. And just a couple of questions in regards to some implications and statements that have been made. And I just want to clarify this before we move on. One is there a book? We have a couple of folks mentioned it twice, that there's a book that has been removed. Is that book unavailable to any patron that wants to check that book out at the library?
That book that everyone's talking about, it is available through NC Cardinal. They would have to borrow it from another library.
But they can receive that book. And that was a decision that was made by you and Mr. Barnett, right?
No, that is not correct. I did not make that decision.
Okay, all right. Has any commissioner on this dais recommended a book to be removed from the library?
I have not been approached by anybody on the county commissioners to remove a book.
So the commissioners have not asked to remove a book. Your board met on Monday, I believe. Was it Monday of last week?
I believe so, the 17th,
right.
I believe.
You then, the next day, you met with myself, Ms. Finney, and Mr. Barnett with a list of recommendations of security measures to take at the library. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And we implemented most of those recommendations that we could implement in a reasonable way. Panic buttons, increased security from the sheriff's department. Am I correct in that?
That's correct. I'd make recommendations for panic buttons for increased security from the sheriff's department, and I also asked for situational awareness for all staff for the county level.
Right, and that is education that we're going to implement and talk about to all of our employees, because we discussed that in terms of Health and Human Services and other departments, and I really want to thank you guys for bringing that to us. Last year, you had a problem with books being moved in the library, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And your board met and recommended, I'm going to assume it was your board, it may have been a staff decision, that's okay, met and recommended that a new camera system be installed in the library. Is that correct?
Yes, I met with the sheriff, I met with the county manager, we discussed it, and that was our recommendation, increase the security cameras.
Yeah. And that was done very quickly. You, Mr. Barnett, the sheriff, our IT department implemented those security measures and really they have been very productive, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Mr. Ward, that is being recommended for a seat on your board, on the library board, currently serves on the library board, does he not?
Yes, that's correct.
How long has Mr. Ward served on? So he is not this is not a new recommendation, correct?
Mr. Ward has been on the Board of Trustees since July of last year.
So approximately a year. At any time in Mr. Ward's tenure on your board, has he recommended to remove a book from the library?
No, he's not.
He has not recommended to remove a book from the library. At any time in your experience with him, has Mr. Ward brought any kind of political agenda into your board meetings?
No, he has not. He's actually been very supportive of everything that we've discussed in our meetings.
So thank you very much. Now, Mr. Mace, who is being recommended, I asked him earlier how long he had had a library card. You've been with us, what, 5 years?
Yes, approximately 5 years.
Mr. Mace, a graduate of North Carolina State University, has had a library card, Glenn, I'm going to say more than 20 years. because you've been in Davie County more than 20 years. He actively uses the library. He is in the library, if not weekly, he's in the library constantly, checking out books, being involved in the library. At any point during your 5 years as library director, has Mr. Mace, who's a graduate of NC State, who is an active user of the library, who is an active reader, has Mr. Mace ever requested a book to be removed from the library?
I have had no interactions with Mr. Mace.
All right. So we have heard here tonight that there is this movement, there is this agenda to remove books from the library. We have no commissioner that has requested a book to be removed. Mr. Ward has not requested a book to be removed. Mr. Mace, in his 20 to 30 year time at the library, which is probably more active than your current chairman of your board, Mr. Mace has never requested a book to be removed from the library. Is that correct?
I have had no interactions with him, no.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I would say this, I would just ask you, at your last meeting, Ms. Bivens was verbally, I don't know what your word to use, Ms. Finney will speak to it later, but has Ms. Bivens ever requested a book to be removed from the library, who currently serves on your board?
No, she has not.
She has not. Okay. Thank you so much, Derek. Hey, we really appreciate all you do. And I would say this, at our last meeting, we made a statement. Not only was Derek's situation, but we had a situation at the Board of Elections. We had a situation with our EMS folks at Walmart when they responded to a call. And we made a statement in regards to violence against any county employee. Any county employee. At our last meeting, Mr. Barnett and this group of commissioners. So we, of course, oppose violence against any employee, and we appreciate all that Derek does and all that the current board does. I'll speak to this a little bit later, Derek, but I wanted to clarify while it was fresh and some of the things that we've heard from folks here tonight. Thank you so much. Do I have a motion to county manager's report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know some of my last reports have been a little short, so I'm going to use some of that time tonight. First, I want to thank our folks in our Public Utilities Department. I know a lot of you realize that this is summertime. Those folks have been working 24 hours around the clock to make sure that we have drinkable water and usable water here in Davie County. So if there's anything that you can do during these next few months, we're not technically in a drought, but it hasn't rained very much. So anything that you could do to help support those folks would be appreciated. Along the same lines, today our fire marshal, Cameron Webb, issued a burn ban. The state has not issued anything, but we as a county just want to be proactive as it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of rain in the forecast. So again, we ask our folks and our citizens if there's anything that they can do to help us during this period. If you don't have to burn, please don't, because that's a use of our resources as we continue through the summer. On a positive note, I want to thank the folks of the Heritage Alliance Project. We actually have their executive director here in audience tonight, Ms. Tamara Tatum. They had a wonderful program this weekend to celebrate Juneteenth. They had me come speak, and the mayor of Moxville. It was a wonderful time. It was a great use of the Masonic grounds, and we hope to revamp the programs that we've had in that area, and we hope next year to see more folks out. I want to thank Chief Rodney Miller and the Evans Fire Department. They had me come speak to about 25 of our youth at their annual summer camp, and then I actually made 2 trips out there and got to see them in action, go through some of the skills that they had learned. So again, a great use of our young people. A couple weeks ago, we had close to 10,000 people attend our first community park concert. And we are looking to see that crowd nearly as high this weekend as we have the Band of Oz performing, and that will be followed by fireworks. And this past weekend, we had around roughly 150 to 200 people participate in our drive-in series at the park. So that's a wonderful showing. I think they watched Jurassic Park, and I know our park folks were glad to see that in place. If you travel along Highway 158 and Farmington Road, starting next week, NCDOT will have that intersection closed as they complete their third and final roundabout in the series of roundabouts that we have on Farmington Road. The project should last, and these are our local DOT people, so we do not anticipate the other roundabout situation that we had last year. But they're going to close that road from July 9th to August the 2nd. They actually anticipate it being open slightly ahead of that August 2nd date, but that is the time frame that they're looking at. And then finally, I wanted to say as county manager that Davie County leadership, including myself, elected officials, and department heads, take safety of our staff, of our patrons, and our facilities very seriously. The nature of providing governmental services to improve the quality of life in here in Davie County does require us to have countless interactions with the public. At the core, we strive to make customer service a focal point of our interactions. However, sometimes these interactions do turn negative. Davie County government will not tolerate this behavior, and is dedicated to take the necessary steps to ensure the well-being of all staff, contractors, and volunteers. We cannot, as an organization, effectively service the community when staff does not feel safe. County departments working in collaboration with the Davie County Sheriff's Office, Technology Solutions, and General Services Department will continue to make swift, fiscally sound decisions to make sure all staff and patrons feel safe and comfortable. Our employees are our number one asset, and we are committed to their well-being. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Barnett. Any questions or comments? Okay. All right. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Ms. Finney, do we have a second? Mr. Schoaf, any questions, discussion? All in favor? That is unanimous. Okay. Any old business? Seeing none, new business, Library Board of Trustees appointments, Mr. Mace, Mr. Ward.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the appointment.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Schoaf makes a second. Do we have any discussion?
Yes. In Davie County, in all counties, there's boards that are advisory boards that are out there to help us govern. In Davie County, we have 16. And I got no issues with the two gentlemen that are on the agenda here, but I do have a problem with the process. If we have these boards that come to us, and we ask for these volunteers to give their time, energy, talents for little or no compensation, and they come to us with a recommendation, I think it needs to be duly heard. And that is the problem I have with this. I may have some more things to say, but the process, everyone needs to be heard if these boards bring to us recommendations. So that's it for now.
Any other
I'll
comments?
just quickly address just that matter. If that is your feelings, then the other 15 boards need to also have that opportunity, because none of those other boards go through this same process.
And that point's well taken. And maybe from this exercise, we need to formalize the presentation of candidates. I take your point, but that's something I would like to consider. But I think that would add certainly transparency to the process and might serve us well prospectively.
I'm certainly willing to listen to that, Terry. The historic role of the commissioners has been to appoint, and as a matter of fact, it's in our bylaws, to appoint members to all boards. Any members that are, any potential board members that are brought to us from planning, from whatever it might be, ag, we vet them. But ultimately, it is the commissioners who make the final decision. You are in your third or fourth term. Richard is in his sixth or seventh term. We, Benita in her second, Brent in his first, I'm in my fourth. We have really never had this. We have never had an issue like this. This board historically has made recommendations and appointed folks to boards. Believe it or not, it's one of the roles of a county commissioner. Now, I won't say anything else right now. I'm certainly willing to listen to a formal process. We have a formal process. We accept applications and we listen, but it is ultimately up to this board to appoint. If we want to change that, we have to change our bylaws, and we certainly can do that. Any other, Brent, go ahead.
I think I'll read most of my statement, and I don't want to belabor, but a lot of you, some of you know me well, some of you don't, but in my former career, I first was a history teacher, political science teacher, and then I was a school counselor. And then I became registered deeds. Well, why does that matter? Well, I think if there's anybody here that appreciates the First Amendment, I do. Secondly, I think being in graduate school with people who have different beliefs, sexual orientation or whatever, even back in the 90s, I had friends. It's not the cliche, I had friends. I can also say that as the Register of Deeds, I had one of my most liberal but yet dear friends, if you want to call them that, progressive, whatever. We have specifically send a gay couple to come to my office before it was legal to get a same-sex marriage, to specifically film me rejecting them getting a marriage license. So he did that because he knew I could handle it, and he knew I would treat those people with dignity. Enough about that, but I think that gives me a little bit of where you know where I come from. But I'm going to read the rest of my statement just for fairness. As a member of the Board of Commissioners, let me state for the record that we have no desire to censor or remove books from the public library. Or if we did something like that, I'd be out there standing in line with everybody else saying we can't do that. But as a county commissioner, we took an oath to carry out our duties and responsibilities as charged. It's actually a statutory duty for us to appoint boards. One of those duties is making appointments to various boards, including the Library Board of Trustees. While I believe that prospective nominees to the Library Board by the Library Board Trustees always will merit strong consideration, there is no policy that binds the county commissioners to only appoint from that slate, regardless of local precedent or local tradition. Furthermore, there seems to be some unwritten qualifications that the Board of Commissioners must follow in making these appointments. I took it upon myself to learn the process and how prospective nominees had been handled in the past and are currently handled by the Board of Trustees, Library Board of Trustees. I understand your prior processes, but I believe it is important to examine the appointment process. In at least one occasion in the past, a commissioner had submitted a recommendation to the Library Board of Trustees for a seemingly qualified individual. That individual never made it back to be reviewed by the county commissioners as a recommended candidate or an alternate. Most recently, the Board of Trustees had 4 applications submitted. 3 of those applicants were vetted are brought forward to the board in its entirety. However, the fourth applicant was never discussed. Keep in mind that this is a board made up of 7 members, not a huge board. Who decided not to discuss this applicant before the entire board? No county board should be strictly self-perpetuating, especially when the nomination process may appear to be somewhat arbitrary. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would have one comment. Traditionally, I'll use that word, we have always taken the recommendation of the boards that were involved, whether it's this board or any other, taken those recommendations that they gave us and made our choices from those. That system has worked very well over the years, and I think that's one that we should continue to consider every person that's brought to us by the boards first before we go look outside. Not saying that the people that are recommended for this position are not qualified. They probably will do a good job when they get on there. But up until recently, that's the way it has worked. We have chosen from who they recommended, and I think those need to be considered first and should have been this time as well.
Thanks, Richard. Anybody else? Ms. Finney?
So I have a long list of things that I probably won't touch all of them, but the first thing I want to say, and I hardly ever toot my own horn, but I think everybody in this room knows that I'm one of the most loving and accepting people in this county. So I don't appreciate being judged otherwise, just so y'all know that from the back, because I love all people, but there is a process that we follow to appoint boards, and we do it for all boards, not just this board. Anybody in this county can go to our website and apply for a board. It's on our website. We don't have to go out and look for people. If they're interested, they have the opportunity to do so. But I feel like there's been a lot of incorrect information put out into the community to cause a lot of this uproar and to cause a lot of this concern. I think some of the concern is misplaced and very unnecessary. I don't think anybody's trying to stop anything or censor any books or change anything. But almost everyone who has either contacted us or spoken has said things like diverse society with different needs, and people have a voice regardless of their personal circumstances. So if we believe those things, then we should also be accepting of someone who we think may feel differently than us. A healthy board for a public entity is made up of many different voices and many different opinions. That's what needs to happen. Everybody does need a voice. I agree with that 100%. Everybody needs a voice. And when we do disagree, we need to do so respectfully. Unfortunately, the last library board that I attended, I did not feel like there was respect in the room. I did feel like when Ms. Bivens asked a question, and she was simply asking a question, some other board members immediately jumped on her and were very aggressive in their reaction toward her. That's not a healthy board. So I want you all to work together and to love on each other and make the decisions that's the best for this county. But we do have to represent all people. That's our responsibility, for all citizens to be represented. And I hope that, moving forward, that we will not have all this misinformation and all of this publicity and all of these unnecessary reactions to an advisory board appointment.
Thank you, Ms. Fee. Terry, do you have anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. The one thing that I wanted to just speak to just briefly is I feel like we we have narrowed our focus in such a way that we don't pay any, we're not paying attention to what is actually happening here. And when I say we, I mean we. And maybe some of you, I just wanted to mention a couple of things, not in regards to the issues that have been spoken here, but just simply the facts about what this board has done for the Davie County Public Library in the last 12 to 18 months, really closer to 12 months. We appointed, per the library board's request, Jane McAllister and David Joyner to the board. This board in the last 12 months has been presented 2 budgets from the Davie County Public Library and our manager and finance folks. Both budgets were approved with not 1 penny reduction by this board. Not 1 penny. We have not cut funding to any program. We have only encouraged programs at the Davie County Public Library. As a matter of fact, in conjunction with our senior center, we've expanded the computer lab at the public library. We just recently were the lead to procure $1 million from the North Carolina legislature to build a new facility for our declining library in Coolamy. And so they will get a new facility because of the leadership of this board and Representative Julia Howard and Senator Steve Jarvis. We also have Director, County Manager Barnett and others worked with Derek and the library board to expand and get distribution in Bermuda Run at the Habitat, I believe. Am I correct, Brian? So we've actually helped expand programs and facilities at the Davie County Public Library. It was so interesting for Ms. Phillips to stand up. We have attempted to procure $500,000 from the North Carolina legislature. We took the lead on that based on Ms. Phillips and others coming to our EDC group, but the county commissioners, to expand the history room at the library. To help with space and to help with storage. So $500,000, $1 million, no cut in their budget, no cut in their programs, expansion of their programs. And I'm going to assume by Derek, that when you guys ask for money in a budget, it's to purchase books. And there was no indication or no red checks on any of the budgeting to say that we can only buy these books. They were funded exactly what, within reason, Mr. Barnett, they asked for. I've already spoke to this last year when they had problems with books being moved in the library. This board funded, and you're the taxpayers, we produce nothing. We utilize your dollars to purchase a new camera system for the library. Right after the unfortunate incident with Derek in the parking lot, again, they came to us within 24 hours. We had approved, because we didn't need a vote here. We just needed to take into account the seriousness of what had happened at the library and approve the dollars to purchase the panic buttons and implement the panic buttons and the other measures that Derek talked about. So these are things that have happened in the last 12 months. And I mean, reading programs going on right now. Summer reading's going on right now. Great program. This board of commissioners has done nothing to try to slow that program down, slow the growth down, slow the wonderful things down that are going on at the Davie County Public Library. Nothing. I will say this, I want to thank Ms. Nielsen for requesting that a commissioner begin to attend their meetings. We have taken that into account. Ms. Finney has graciously volunteered and will now be attending each of your meetings. And I know, Ms. Nielsen, we really thank you for that request. That's the facts. That's what's going on at that what we have done for the Davie County Public Library and you have done for the Davie County Public Library. We have 16 other boards and commissions that we have to address, multiple departments that we have to address, economic development, adequate housing, jobs for the citizens of Davie County, and we simply do our best to address it. And so, any other discussion here? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, uplifted hand. All opposed? Okay, we have 3-2. All right, commissioners' comments. Richard?
I think it's wonderful to sit here and look out and see a full galley of people contributing to Davie County, as all of us would want to and should. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank all the county employees for the wonderful jobs that they do every day serving the citizens of Davie County. Thank you.
Mr. Renner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Good to see a full room. Appreciate all the input. A couple observations. One thing that I've said before, and I'm going to say it again. We're a small county. We're 42,000 people, maybe 43 on a good day. And we're friends, we're neighbors, and, we don't need some of this acrimony. We really don't. And I just want everybody to think about that as we go through the summer. Another observation, clearly we don't always agree, and that's probably healthy, but we do take employee safety very seriously. We're in lockstep on that. And if someone has got an issue with safety with our employees or their workplace or environment, let any one of us know or let Mr. Barnett know. But we are 100% in agreement on that, I can assure you, if we are aware of it. If we're not, we need to be made aware of it. And the last thing I would say is enjoy the 4th. Thank you.
What I would like to say, and I don't mean this in a flippant way, it's healthy, even if it's painful, to have discussions like we've had tonight. And that's one of the things going into July 4th that makes being in this country great, especially when you compare what happens to other things. I would like to say that publicly condemn the acts that happened at the library, and I do think with what was basically an assault with Derek, and we do take that seriously. There is never any place for violence. It doesn't matter what direction you're coming at it politically. We need to be nice. We need to love on each other. We are a small community, like Terry said. And, it's just, there's too much acrimony in the world to not agree to disagree and do it in a civil manner. And at the end of the day, when you see somebody out, you may disagree with their decision, but, that's not their whole body of work, their whole life. That's not what they've done. That doesn't mean they're a bad citizen, no matter what end of the spectrum you believe in. So I sincerely mean that, and I'd like to wish everybody a happy 4th.
I did fail to previously, so I want to say this first. I wanted to make sure and give a shout out to the library employees, because even in the midst of all this controversy that's been going on, those employees are doing so many wonderful things in that library and so many great programs and working with children and adults alike, and they are awesome. Our library employees are awesome, and I appreciate them very much. I hate that Leah left, because I am very proud of her. She really makes Davie County look good everywhere she goes. So thank you for bringing her here tonight to share with us what she's doing in 4-H. Our Our 4-H numbers may be small, but they're remarkable young people, and they're doing a great job. We're thankful for Dr. Weekly joining our team at EMS, and I feel like that he's going to do a great job. I think everybody that has met him and worked with him so far is excited that he's coming. Brian mentioned earlier about public utilities. I do appreciate them very much in this weather. Bless them. I hate when they have to work out in this heat. I don't know how they do it. They're tough. And I wanted to thank Cameron Webb for moving forward with that burn ban, whether anybody else has done it or not, because I know my grass is crunching under my feet, and I'm sure yours is as well. So I think that's much needed. We had a small incident today with some dry weather taking effect. I was not able to attend the Juneteenth celebration at the picnic grounds because I had to work, but I was able to attend the celebration at the senior center, and it was phenomenal. So thank you so much to all the people that organized that, and for the senior center for hosting that event. It was an event that should not have been missed. I told everybody there was church going on in that building that day. It was great. So, one other thing this is another thing I don't normally do, but I feel the need to share this today. It has been brought to my attention by several people that apparently there's some misconception going on regarding myself and the pay increases that we voted on last week. At no time did I ever say I did not want employees to get a raise. I have been advocating for employee raises ever since I stepped into this position every single year. My concern is with the new program and the sustainability and the moving forward with that. I understand there's been lots of gossip and rumors going on amongst employees. I challenge you to watch our budget meeting that is online so that you can hear what I actually said. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to call me, because I will stand behind anything I say, but please do not say things that I did not say. Happy 4th of July.
Thanks all for being here. We value all of our citizens. And as I alluded to before, you make this happen. We don't. We value, appreciate, and want to be an encouragement to our employees and all the staff of the county. And so we thank God, Pastor, that we are in this great county and that He has sovereignly placed us here. And so everybody have a great 4th. Shoot off some fireworks. Do what you do. Be you. And we'll have a great birthday for our nation. We are going into closed session. Let me read this now. It takes a second. Closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 43-318.11A6 to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual, public officer, employee, prospective public officer, or employee, or to hear or to investigate a complaint, charge, grievance by or against an individual, public officer, or employee. Karen, this gets longer every month. General personnel policy issues may not be considered in closed session. A public body may not consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, appointment, or removal of a member of the public body or another body, and may not consider or fill a vacancy among its own membership except in an open meeting. Final action making an appointment or discharge or removal by a public body having final authority for the appointment or discharge or removal shall be taken in open meeting. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Ms. Finney, which shows seconds. All in favor? Okay. We stand in closed session. We shall be back shortly. I take it we're good. Okay.
Crazy because I'm still in.
Do we have a motion to go back into open session?
So moved.
Ms. Finney, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Reniger, all in favor? Okay. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Poindexter, Mr. Reniger, all in favor? We stand adjourned. Great.
Short and sweet.